Now, as far as if you reach out to a mentor, let's say I go to this networking event, I meet this guy, and he's like, hey, we should connect. So I call, boop, 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 voicemail, boop, 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 voicemail, email, nothing, no response. Well, how do you get the attention of a mentor if you really want through? Have you ever had a time where you've tried to get a conversation going with someone and it's just been really hard? I mean, do you have some secret moves, some Jedi moves that you've used?
Well, Jedi probably not.
Okay.
But I would say that there are definitely times where I have reached out to people in the past and it's met with radio silence.
Okay.
Right? So the question is, one, are they really a mentor? Or do I just see them as an opportunity? Because both parties have to see it as a great opportunity.
Okay.
The people that I invest my time with are people that I'm passionate about my business. I feel like these are people that I can be additive to. I'm receiving, I'm being stimulated by the interactions.
Okay.
If it's just a one-way relationship, it won't have legs. The other thing is I think people confuse coaches with mentors. And coaches are people that have a more structured and rigid relationship, a more predictable schedule at which you meet, a more clear agenda. The mentors in my life are people that I call when I have a specific issue that I want to discuss. And that doesn't always have to be a 2-hour investment over lunch. It can be a 15-minute phone call.
What does a coach cost? If someone wants to hire a coach, they say, I want a coach. I want the rigid schedule. What does a business coach cost? I mean, they're probably all over the map, but I mean.
Yeah, it definitely would be. I mean, I've seen it everywhere from, $50 an hour to $5,000 a month. All over the board, depending on their expertise, the size of your business, the needs, the time investment, so on and so forth.
Okay. But you might want to look at the fruits of that person's life before you hire a mentor or hire a coach or seek out a mentor. You probably want to make sure that the person's had some success before they're telling you how to do it, maybe?
Yeah, and I think coaches, in my experience, are people that I've hired for structure, strategy, accountability. Mentors are people who I use to help us evolve an idea, refine a strategy, get some Gestalt level learning, learn from their experiences, I should say. And so the mentorships are a more kind of dynamic and fluid relationship. The coaching is a more structured and rigid environment.
Final question I have here for you.
Yeah.
Do you have an underlying sort of mantra or a theme or some kind of philosophy that's the core of everything you do? Is there sort of like a philosophy that at the very bedrock, at the foundational level that you try to live by?
Yeah, so I think what comes to mind for me is I'm a big believer in positive energy, right? And making sure that energy can flow freely, and not to be on the woo-woo side, but I think that, we talked about business development,
yeah.
Right? We talked about networking and saying, hey, how can I give to this relationship before I expect to receive, right? And I think that idea of investing forward is something that has served me very, very well. And the other is, as a leader, our job is to remove obstacles so that the people that are within our organization can continue to work at a pace that is consistent with what we expect and what they need.
So removing obstacles is big.
Huge.
And then making sure there's a positive energy going there. And I know you don't want to go on the woo-woo side, but just for a second, I'd like to go on the woo-woo side
All
just
right.
for a second. I have found that every entrepreneur that we've interviewed so far, every one of them, without a fail, whoever the most successful people, all are a little on the woo-woo side. They all have a little bit of a you mentioned positive energy. I could say, well, that's weird. That's weird. But I find that Steven Spielberg, you look at George Lucas, you go, well, those are movie people. Then you look at Oprah, and then you say, well, that's this. Well, Richard Branson. All these people have a little bit of a core philosophical belief system that's different from most people. Where it's countercultural.
Yeah.
So you're intentional about having positive energy.
Well, I think all of the people that you just talked about, including myself, are on the spectrum of certifiably crazy, right? And I think that you have to be positive as a leader. It's not about being inauthentic,
yeah.
But it is about setting the tone for the organization. And I was told a long time ago that when you fly on a commercial airplane, don't panic until you see the flight attendants panic. And I think the same thing is true within an organization. Everyone is watching.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's important for the leader to set the tone for the organization. We
had one funny story I want to share because I think you'd appreciate this. When we were starting Thrive, my wife and I had some success in the business. And so we had decided we're just going to self-fund it ourselves until other venture capital guys can come along and help out. And you don't know when they're coming. They might never come. So you just do it. I remember my assistant, Liz, she was like, boss, we've spent, I think it was at that time, maybe $30,000 on pitch decks where you print
Yeah.
and you send them out to investors after you've had a conversation. And she's like, I think we've spent like $30,000 on pitch decks, and meetings and, events at country clubs and stuff. What do you want to do? And that was that moment.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let's double the printing. And I remember saying that and walking out and being like, oh man, we've spent a lot on that. But I didn't show that, but I remember thinking, that was outstanding. But at the meeting, she was looking for my reaction, like, should we panic? And now as more people have been brought on and people are subscribing all over the planet, now people are like, we have more investors calling like, hey, I want to be a part of that. But I remember that defining moment where they kind of looked and said, are you nuts? Are we going to do this or not?
Which may be true.
Yeah.
But that actually brings up another, what I think is a golden nugget. It was a quote I heard a long time ago, and that is, if you want to take the island, you have to burn the boats. Right? So we talk about clarity and focus and selling out to whatever it is that we are intending to achieve. You can't do it passively. You can't do it dipping your toe in the water and saying, well, we'll try a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this and get distracted by these. It's about selling out. You want to take the island, you got to burn the boats.
I love that. I want to get a T-shirt with that. If you want to take the island, you have to burn the boats. That's awesome. David, I appreciate you being here. That little notable quotable is going to probably set me on fire for a week or two. I appreciate that. Just thank you for taking your time to mentor people all across the planet. I know you have a busy agenda with a lot of stuff, and it means the world to me, and I know the people listening. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.